Welcome, CTs, and welcome to another edition of Everything Weird, Nothing Normal. CT stand for Conspiracy Theorists. I'm sure you're aware of that by now. But I would like to welcome anyone who's into the weird and wonderful, because you're fantastic. Okay, now please like and subscribe if you can. Hit the old subscribe bell, bing, and hit the like button. That would be fantastic. That would be great. The more subscribers I get, the more we can go live eventually. You know, that's my plans. So, today, I want to talk about the Pascagoula UFO abduction case. Now, we've covered photos lately. We've done the Heflin photo, the Trent photo, and loads of other different photos that we've covered. And I think, to be fair, we've extinguished them now. So I want to start talking about abduction cases. So the first one we're going to talk about, as I say, is the Pascagoula one. And I'm going to stick the photo of them behind me. Okay, now the Pascagoula UFO abduction case happened in 1973. Charles Hickson, then 42, and his co-worker Calvin Parker were fishing on an old abandoned boat launch just after sundown. Okay, so you can set the scene, can't you? He said, I was just sitting there getting some more bait, Hickson told the Washington Post in 1975, when I heard a strange whizzing whirring noise. He said he turned round and looked up and saw a blue flashing light. Calvin, his buddy, who was 19, obviously, turned around too and saw a 30-foot long object with a little dome on top. When the strange oval UFO appeared, it hovered about 2 foot off the ground as an exterior side door began to slide open. You can picture it, can't you? So you're there, you're fishing, you look round, there's a UFO. Not only that, but it starts to land and a door opens. As it hovered just above the ground, 3 aliens disembarked and trapped both men, who then floated or levitated onto the spacecraft. Now, levitation, that's a funny thing, isn't it? Because, if you're into the ancient alien theory, and I suggest you do look into it, it's fascinating. Puma Punka and Nan Madel and Ord Buldebek, can't pronounce it. Bildebek, can't pronounce it. Okay, all these ancient cities have these massive 54-ton stones, and the rumour is they were levitated. So they have got the technology. While aboard the UFO, Hickson said his body somehow rose into the air, levitated, and hovered over the floor with no visible means of support. Hickson reported being the subject of a thorough physical examination by a mechanical scanning device that had a large eye that looked like a football. All he called hearing is a constant mechanical buzzing sound during the whole abduction episode that lasted about 20 minutes. So, both were released after 20 minutes by being re-levitated back to the fishing boat. So, you're fishing, you get abducted, you get put back down. It would take me hours. I would just have to sit there and contemplate, what happened? I nearly swore then. What happened? Now, Hickson found Parker standing up, arms raised to the sky and screaming, he told the Post. Not surprising, their unnerving experience left both men terrified as they sat in the car for over an hour afterwards just to regain some sort of sanity. And Hickson hit the whiskey. Now, I don't know why he had whiskey in his car, but if I had whiskey in my car, I'd have hit it as well. Hard, I'll tell you. Now, after briefly discussing their next steps, so, what we're going to do, who are we going to tell? Do we tell anyone? Should we keep it secret? That's what you must have been talking about at the time. They decided to phone the Kessler Air Force Base, but was told that they didn't get involved in UFO cases, and they had to phone their local police station. So, that's what they did. Okay. So, Parker and Hickson did just that. They headed for the Jackson County, Mississippi Sheriff's Office and arrived about 10:30 p.m. Following a brief preliminary interview, The then Jackson County Sheriff, Fred Diamond, expressed a strong belief that both men were genuinely afraid and sincere. So as a policeman, you have to trust your instincts, don't you? Your gut instincts. And first appearances are everything. So he was convinced they were scared. However, he admitted to harbouring some doubts and suspicions as the story was incredible, and the prior admission of a recent alcohol consumption made the story just that little bit more unbelievable. So he thought, were they drunk? Were they on a bender? Are they making the story up? So what he did, okay, he put a secret tape in the room and left the two lads there to chat. After the secret tape, after repeatedly drilling the men about various details of the UFO event, Sheriff Diamond left them alone in a small interrogation room, but hid a small recording device to try and catch them out. But surprisingly, they didn't change their story. They kept on talking about what they had seen and how scared they were. The covertly recorded conversation revealed severe emotional distress and extreme fright that might be far beyond an act of fabrication. So they didn't know they were being taped. They were just, and the taping is out there. And I'm going to play it, okay, if I can find it. I'm sure that I can, but if I can, I'm going to play it here, okay? The recorded conversation was kept locked up for a few years, but following its release, has now gained widespread circulation among UFO enthusiasts. Due to the understandable doubts by local police, both men agreed to undergo a polygraph examination. But Parker backed out at the last minute and only Hickson actually took the test. Based on the test results, the examiner reported that Hickson believed he was genuinely abducted by a UFO. He genuinely believed it. Now, come the skeptics. Now, skeptics question the discrepancy in Hickson's story and also serious defects in the polygraph testing process. The polygraph tester apparently was inexperienced, unlicensed, and still training. Also, they refused another test by a more experienced operator. Now, look, if I was Hickson, I'd seen a UFO, I'd undergone skeptics, questions, disbelievers. I don't think I'd have gone for another one either. You know, I would have said, look, I've done one, I'm not doing another. So that doesn't really necessarily mean he was lying. He was just tired of it. Also, years later, after keeping out of the limelight and hiding from the press, Parker would change his story, saying he lied about fainting and remembered everything that happened while being abducted. And I'll cover that in a second, all right? Now, Parker, bear in mind, he was 19 years old. The older fella, Hickson, he was used to, you know, he was a known figure. He quite liked the media attention. I generally don't think Parker did. So, overnight, it was national news. There were news conferences and cameras thrust in their still stunned faces. A UFO investigator from Northwestern University flew down and said their story checked out. Skeptics called them liars or said Hickson had an episode of sleep paralysis and was hallucinating, while Parker was highly suggestible. So what they're saying is Hickson had sleep paralysis and was hallucinating, but managed to convince Parker that everything happened. I mean, all right, he might be highly suggestible, but why? He's 19, you know. I mean, he's not 11. He's not being tempted by candy, is he? Believers flooded into Pascagoula by the thousands, wrapped in aluminium foil and sitting all night on the hoods of their car waiting for visitors from another world. Now, I get the excitement. I probably would have done the same, but that doesn't strengthen the UFO cases, does it? Hickson was 42 at the time and was well known to the community, so perhaps he felt more able to handle the media crush. He recounted the experience to anyone who would listen. He went on to Johnny Carson and he published a book in 1983. Parker, on the other hand, was only 19 when it happened. He had just arrived in town from an even smaller town and had planned to earn some extra money before returning home to get married. He told the media he had passed out at the beginning of the whole affair and couldn't remember what happened. And I reckon he said that just to avoid the media questions. That was the only lie he told the Sun Herald in 2018. He, in fact, did remember what happened and was so afraid that aliens had infected him with something that when he got home from the sheriff's department, he bathed in bleach. Within weeks, he skipped town, got married and went to work in oil fields. And anyone who recognised him, he would quit and go and work somewhere else. He genuinely didn't want the media attention. Now, if Hickson was trying to get rich from the story, it didn't work. Parker told the Sun Herald that before Hickson's death, and Hickson always swore blind it happened, in 2011, he did occasionally pay the old man's electricity bill because he was skint. So, yeah, there you go. Now, here's an interesting thing, right? In March, as the city was discussing plans for the marker, new witnesses emerged, telling the Mississippi Clarion Ledger that on the night in question, they saw an unidentified flying object with flashing blue lights going up the Pascagoula River. One of them, Marie Blair, told the Clarion Ledger, the story is very true. I genuinely did see it, and it had been bothering me for 45 years. So, what do you think? What do you think? The Pascagoula UFO abduction case. Do you believe it? Is it true? Or were they making it up? I'll tell you what, please tell me what you think. Do comment. I love comments. I will reply to them as well, and we'll have a proper conversation about it. I'm going to buy the case. I actually think it happened, you know. But look, as I say, tell me what you think. And, you know, follow and like, subscribe, and then you can get notifications of our next video. Okay? Yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. And this is Everything Weird, Nothing Normal.